What does it feel like when you're able to help an introvert um, realize that introversion is a strength and take on the behaviors that amplify that strength? What does that feel like for
Mm,
you?
it is amazing. And it's interesting the way you even ask that question. We may start with introversion, but as soon as people get over, oh, that's how my brain works, the actual language of introversion goes away. And
Hmm.
what we're looking for is finding your true leadership. So, like any coaching anyone, it's finding what's true for you and how do you pursue that. And so, watching someone kind of accept themselves for who they are and their preferences, to then finding that internal confidence, to then taking action and recognizing, oh, I am in an extroverted world, so I do need to change my behaviors. But it's not changing who I am. So it's about, modifying what you do. I'll give you an example. When I first started working, I was considered the ice queen because I didn't smile, I didn't say hello to people. I am so not the ice queen. And it was just because I was quiet. And so on my development plan, I said, I'm going to say hi to 5 people every morning. And so, of course, what's the magic of 5? I don't know. It was just a number. But it was hard at first. Oh, I got to say hi. Hi. I didn't have to talk to them. I just had to say hello. And then, of course, it got easy. Oh, it's pretty easy to say hello to 5 people. And then all of a sudden, people saw me as more warm and approachable. Did I change who I was? Absolutely not. But I actually became more of who I am by doing a slight behavior change. And so when I see that in a client and they realize, oh, it wasn't so hard to speak up in a meeting, doesn't mean you have to speak up and say, here's the most earth-shattering, idea, and we're going to change your strategy because of this. It could be as simple as asking a question or saying, okay, so what are our next steps? That is all about speaking up and adding value with your voice. So it is incredibly rewarding for me to see my clients in their own way, not in the Jennifer way, in their own way, find the path that will make them successful. And then when I see the joy of, hey, it wasn't so hard, and the learning along the way, because there are obviously a lot of stumbles along the way, but the learning to realize, oh, they would have never gotten there unless they figured out what worked for them. And so what's so rewarding is for them to get there sooner than I got there.
So, what do you know to be true about leading with quiet confidence?
That the world needs introverts and introverted leaders, and that a quiet leader can be successful, absolutely can be successful. So I know if you are true to yourself and you're open to different approaches and different ways to do things, as long as you are true to yourself and what you want to do, that you can be successful.
What did you believe to be true early on about introversion that you've now learned is not true?
It is funny when we started talking about this question of superhero power, and I came to this conclusion, wow, actually, my superhero power is lead with quiet confidence, which, first of all, feels so weird to even call that a superhero power because I started out, as I mentioned, started out my career saying, oh, being quiet is bad. I have to speak up
Hmm.
more. I
Hmm.
have to be something different than I am. So to finally come to this conclusion that, wow, there is a superpower here, it is pretty interesting where I took what I thought was a weakness and turned that into a superpower. I think the point that made me realize this was I was in a diversity training and there was a role play going on. And there was a woman, a quiet woman, who there was a role play of a decision being made. There were 5 or 6 people in the room and we're an audience of about 100. And the woman said an idea and no one paid attention. And a couple minutes later, a man says, oh, the same idea, but no one recognizes that the woman had said it. And the facilitator kind of pauses the role play and walks around the audience. And by the way, I'm here with my leadership team who are mostly white males. And there were a handful of females in the audience. And she walks around the room and happens to stand right in front of me and says, "It's about this point that someone in the audience starts to cry." There I was. And I started to cry. And I realized, wow, that was me so many years ago. How many times had that happened to me? And it was also a realization, wow, look how far I have come. And that was when I realized, wow, I've learned something. I'm still who I am, but I don't have as many of those situations as I used to. What have I done? It was an act of reflection. What have I done to be different? And then that all came together when I decided to start coaching and I think connecting to introverted women to say, how can I expedite their learning about themselves and how to get that inner confidence sooner than it took me?
So, Jennifer, what's the impact that your superhero power has on others?
Mm. So obviously in my coaching business, I focus on introverted women and have the impact there. But a story I have from Microsoft is for my 50th birthday, I got a strip of blue hair about this color blue. And it was something I always wanted since like I was a teenager. And I realized just as I got older, like I just want to do this. And that is something that's important to me. So, of course, my first day, I was so nervous, walked in and meeting with this senior leader, and he looks up at me and says, "Oh, you have different hair." I was like, "Oh," I was so nervous. And he totally accepted. He was fine. In fact, I ended up presenting to our CEO with my blue hair, and no one peeped. And I remember someone sent me a note, someone a couple levels below me, and said, "Wow, if you can show up as your true self here at this company, then I can too. So thank you for inspiring me." And I realized, wow, I did the blue hair for me, but what an impact it can have on others. So it really made me think as I went into my coaching business and coaching introverts, how else can I have broader impact on others?